well. Thank you so much for staying with me, and thank you to Bull Country Compost. So, right before the break, we said that we were going to be talking about some things for our yard. Many people have been coming in and asking about lime. Is this the time I should be liming my yard? Some people are coming in and they say they have moss growing all over their yard or mushrooms growing all over their yard, and they think lime is going to be their answer. Lime is going to change the pH of your soil, but if you are growing mushrooms in your yard, yes, your pH is off. But just one application of lime is probably not going to be enough to change that out. You might need some Moss Max as well. But getting some lime down on your yard is definitely going to help. If you are battling with like mushrooms or lots of moss, you're probably dealing with some wet issues also. So you might want to look at that, trying to get some drainage in your lawn so that you can get some of this moisture off, or maybe adding some topsoil or something to enrich your soil so that it's not so heavily with the clay. Usually clay soil, the water sits on top, and that's why you have moss growing or mushrooms growing. And there are great things that you can do to your soil to really break up that heavy clay. And in the fall is a wonderful time to do it. Gypsum is great to break up heavy clay soils. So maybe doing a application of the gypsum and then an application of lime, those two working together, changing the pH and breaking up that heavy clay soil, that might really be a great answer if you are battling with mushrooms or lots of moss in your yard. If you have some of these things in your beds as well, somebody sent us some photos and they had like a mushroom fungus type thing growing in their flower beds, but they also had it in their yard. In those photos, I could tell the area was very, very wet. And so these are the information that we gave them as well. And so you really want to make sure that if you are battling with some wet areas, getting drainage is going to really help you. So many times you have these wet spots because you have heavy clay soils and the water doesn't drain down through. So getting those heavy clay soils broken up is really going to help. Of course, if you don't want to, rip up your whole yard and till it all up and till all of those, compost in and change those soil, a lot of times the gypsum and the lime is a great way to get that down in and really help break it up. It's going to take a little bit longer, but it is going to be a bit more economical than really starting over with a whole new lawn. Now, you do have to realize that when you're changing the pH and you're getting rid of this moss, you are going to get some bare spots in your yard. And if you don't get some grass seed down in those areas and get it germinated, weeds are going to grow in those areas. So then you're going to have another thing to battle. So when you're doing all these things to get rid of fungus or mushrooms or moss in your yard, you need to make sure that you are ready to, as soon as that stuff is dead, you can rake it out, sprinkle some nice loose topsoil on, or rake that area up, put down some new grass seed, and then cover it, especially late in the season like this, with the Bull Country compost. It's going to hold the heat of the day because it being so dark and so rich, it holds the sunlight and that heat from the day into the night, which is going to aid in quicker germination, and it will really help you get a stand of grass more quickly at this time of the year when it's crucial to get that stand of grass going before it gets cold. The other nice thing about it is you never have to rake up Bull Country compost like you would straw. It's going to keep the birds off. It's going to feed it like a fertilizer, of course. It keeps the heat in and you don't have to clean it up. It's a win-win every way around. So, grab a bag of Bull Country compost, grab your grass seed, and go home. And as soon as these things are dead, after you have done these applications, rake it up and get your grass seed down. You're going to find that you have a much better success rate than trying to wait till spring. So many people say, oh, I'll put that on now and then I'll wait till spring to do my overseeding. And if you do that, you're going to have a lot of weed issues, and then you're going to be you're not going to be fighting the fungus, but you're going to be fighting weeds at that time. So you want to make sure that you are taking these steps. And it's still early enough, if you're using the Bull Country compost to help keep that heat in, to do some overseeding this fall. Also, doing an aeration at this time of the year is very, very great for your lawn if you are battling with any of these issues, or just as a regular maintenance. It's very good to do an aeration, overseeding, liming every 2 years, every 3 years max. But if you have battled, with any of these issues holding water, you have heavy clay soils, the grass just isn't doing as well, do an aeration, do the gypsum, do the lime, do the overseeding, and you're going to find that you have a lot better stand of grass. Next year, it will look much better for you. If you are doing the aeration, you really don't need the Bull Country compost. It would be beneficial, of course, but your seed will fall down in the holes from your aerator, making that plug down into the ground, and then the grass seed will go down in there. Now, if you have the time and you can rake in the Bull Country compost over your whole lawn, that is going to be that much more beneficial, but that is going to take you quite a while to do, and a lot of work as well. But it would be very, very beneficial to your lawn. The next thing that a lot of folks have been asking about are bulbs. And yes, our bulbs are all in. The tulips, the daffodils, the hyacinths, the crocuses, the grape hyacinths. Of course, garlic is a bulb as well. And this is the perfect time to be planting all of those. But if you have that heavy clay soil again that you are battling, you want to make sure that when you dig the hole, and we have great hole makers for you, a little tool that makes that hole for you, the right 4-inch depth and everything. But if you have that heavy clay soil, it's really going to be a good idea after you get the hole, no matter how you make it, take that soil out, put it in your wheelbarrow, break it up, maybe use some of the gypsum, some of the compost, mix it all up like cookie batter, put a little bit of that in the bottom of your hole, put your bulbs in, and then backfill with this blend instead of just with the soil that came out of your hole. I think that you'll find that your bulbs do so much better. Now, also, if you battle with like voles or chipmunks, maybe even squirrels, digging up your bulbs that you have been planting, and that is so frustrating. If you are battling with that, there are some things that you can put in the hole around your bulb once you put it in. So, the Espoma company has a product called Soil Perfector, and it's these little beads that break up, and it's really good for heavy clay soil also, but it has a texture to it that if you encompass your bulbs, it will really protect them from any of those little critters that are trying to dig them up. Also, Neptune's Harvest fertilizer, they have oyster and crab shells crushed all up. We sell them in a bag, and you can encompass that around your bulb as well. They are very high in calcium, so it feeds the bulb with the calcium as well, but also very jagged edges, so it keeps those little critters away from digging up your bulb. So a couple little tips to help you with having good bulb production, having them root in well and do well for you in the spring. Remember, you plant the bulbs in the fall for beautiful flower in the spring on all of those. This is also the time, like I said, for the garlic. You want to get your garlic in this month so that you have wonderful garlic to harvest next year around the first week of July. And either one of these products, the Espoma Soil Perfector or the Neptune's Harvest crab oyster shells, is also great for your garlic. A lot of times people won't have issues with animals eating their garlic bulb like they will the tulip bulb, but they will sometimes dig them up, and then all of that work that you have done is, just not worth anything, and you have to plant them again. So putting some of these things around them will stop them from digging those things up, and you will have better success rate. Also, when you plant your bulbs, using bulb tone is a great fertilizer, and also bone meal. So those ones are going to be great to fertilize your bulbs in. Also, if you have bulbs that you have planted in the years past and they didn't maybe do as well for you this year, the bulb tone is a great fertilizer to put on them now that's going to be worked down in, feed that root system. So if you know where your tulips or your hyacinths were and they didn't look the greatest this year, they didn't do real well, maybe your daffodils also, put the bulb tone down on them now in the fall, fertilize those, and you will see them do so much better for you next season. Just want to touch base with you if you have questions about any of these things. We have 2 more weeks on the air, and we will answer your questions here on the show. But if you have questions that you need answered right away, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 330-455-5997. You can email me your questions at Cindy Petitti, CindyPetitti@gmail.com, or go to our Facebook page, Anthony Petitti Organic Greenhouse. Tap message, and you can message us your questions, and we will get back with you very promptly. The Facebook page is on my phone, so I get those notifications right away that someone messaged us, and I can get back with you very promptly. I don't check my emails constantly, usually 3 times a day, early in the morning, sometime midday, and then I'll check again after we close. So probably the Facebook is going to be the quickest, or definitely calling, or better yet, stop in at the store at 5828 Columbus Road, right there on the corner of Columbus Road and Broadway, and bring us your questions. And today would be a great day to do it, as long as it doesn't take too long to explain, because we will be busy and we're so excited. So please come over to the store today for the 18th annual Fall Festival and all the fun that we have going on. Please tell all of your friends, and we'll see you. We'll be there till 4 o'clock today. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week right here on the Light 95.9. Have a blessed week.